A really good example, sort of from start to finish, around a project that was highly impactful was our work on the impacts of domestic violence at work. So we worked with the Canadian Labour Congress and many of its affiliates, actually, and a project that eventually started going international and working with the International Labour Organization. But it was through work with the Centre for Research and Education on Violence Against Women and Children and the amazing Barb McCrory that we knew that there was a need to understand how domestic violence followed mostly women into the workplace. In the worst scenarios, we had examples of perpetrators being able to find the partner at work, because even if she leaves home and goes to a safe place, she still has to go to work. And we've had femicides, at workplaces or in the parking lot of workplaces. So these are pretty serious outcomes. It impacts their work as well. So it means job loss, both for survivors and for those who use violence. It means loss of productivity, increased workplace accidents. So the Canadian Labour Congress was, very, very interested in this and was really passionate about leading some work in this area. So for us, we were developing the data. We were doing surveys, which ended up being replicated for many different countries. But our Canadian survey was the first large survey of this kind. And because of this real advocacy by the Canadian Labour Congress, we were able to do a huge survey, over 8,500 respondents, which gave us the ability to look at subgroups that often we don't get because of smaller sample sizes. So from a research perspective, the quality was very high because of the ability of CLC and their affiliates to get recruitment really at a massive scale. But the other piece was, and this was kind of cool, we gave a press conference on Parliament Hill. So we were standing with the president of the Canadian Labour Congress and really talking about this work and these impacts I've just mentioned. And eventually, through Barb's advocacy and that of Canadian Labour Congress, we ended up really influencing legislation. So paid days for domestic violence leave and really having people start to understand that this is a workplace issue. So that was, a project where from start to finish, the partner involvement really led to probably one of the most significant impacts I can think of in terms of actually changing legislation. You also have to be willing to put aside what you're doing because your partner now says, I have to brief the minister tomorrow. I need stuff from you today. And I'm like, well, I was going to write a paper today, but my partner needs me. Having partners, who are out in the world, they can tell you when those windows might be opening. And when they might be closing. So you switch because it's got to be a reciprocal relationship with your partners. And if they're asking you to support them, you have to step up. Some of the bad reputation that research has sometimes is that we go into a community, we extract what we want, we come back, we get our needs met, and the community is left going, where's the win for us? We've given time, we've given resources, and now you've taken what you need, but we don't see any benefit to our community or our organization. I think there are really moral and ethical concerns about working that way. So I would certainly encourage, and I do encourage, my colleagues to always think about, situating that win-win so that we all get what we need from it.